Kitty Dog, nice to see you, and Archangel. I'm not sure about the other people. I think they're too far away.
Get on with it, Jimmy.
Back to the story. We had everything together to make this movie, and I started writing songs for it. They would give me an assignment, and I would do the assignment, basically. And this was the theme. The movie, just so you understand where I'm coming from on this, the movie was a libertarian America in the near future, where victimless crime had been abolished, and if it didn't have a victim, it wasn't a crime, and there was a lot of other stuff that was going on, but there was a lot of corruption in law enforcement. And there was the main protagonist against the law officials was a guy named Solomon. It was called Solomon's Song. And Solomon had magic, and that's what kept him alive. Otherwise, he'd have been dead and buried long before this. But this was the song that was supposed to be the theme for this movie. It's a thing called Phoenix, Bird of Destiny. Bird flies so high, so proud, so great, so free. Your feathers of fire light the sky, and your spirit is one with me. Your wings span the mighty ocean, your eyes see everything. The slightest of your motions can make the continents ring. Yet in all your might and glory you vanished from the skies, leaving just another story amidst millions of man-made lies. They tell of how you fell from the sky, your once proud beauty aflame, to vanish from your throne on high, leaving only a memory of your name. Rainbow bird, mighty phoenix, come once more into the eyes of man. From the ancient days of Atlantis, centuries numbered 10 times 10 times 10. Still of you wise men whisper, say that you will come again. And once more man will prosper beneath your rainbow wing. And on your mighty fire-flecked back there shall stand that man. His words will be for the voice you lack, a guide for the race of man. Oh, rainbow bird, mighty phoenix, come once more into the eyes of man. Ancient days of Atlantis, centuries numbered 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 times 10. Oh, thank you so much. And
all right, that's my friend Jimmy Gray, who wrote the themes. Put the music. I wrote the lyrics. And that's what I'm trying to get through to you today, folks. I am a writer. I do have books for sale. They have tried to stop me in distribution. They're blocking me in libraries. They do not want this. Now, and you know, in this article I was telling you that it's not just these agencies operating under the colloquial legitimate governments, you know, and it says right there in the protocols, folks, you know, our millions of watchful eyes, spies and surveillance. We'll put both sides of war at the mercy of our international agencies. That's number 2, international agency. Can you say UN? And our veterans. It's our citizens. It's our own people that are responsible for the scorn, the rejection, the lack of support from our fellow Americans, are responsible for the fact that more Vietnam veterans have committed suicide here in America than were killed by the Viet Cong. That in itself is a national tragedy. 18 veterans kill themselves every day. Families do this. They put this kind of pressure. They reject them because they are fearful of rejection in their schools, churches, and synagogues, and bow to the pressure to conform. I've told my audiences for years now that when a communist regime takes over, they go after three classes of their own citizens, almost in order. The farmers first. They don't want you to be able to feed yourself. Second is the intelligentsia, anyone smart enough to recognize what they're doing. And then the police or veterans who may still be loyal to the old regime, like the Oath Keepers. They sprayed us with Agent Orange in Vietnam and exposed us to depleted uranium in Iraq because they did not want healthy, combat-hardened veterans coming home to the realization that the United States has become a communist country like we were supposed to be fighting overseas. Now, someone put a flyer out at Occupy Phoenix. It was written by Larkin Rose entitled, "When Should You Shoot a Cop?" Someone had taken it down off the internet, and Larkin had this to say about what he wrote. That question, even without an answer, makes most law-abiding citizens go into knee-jerk conniptions. The indoctrinated masses of all races, the indoctrinated masses all race to see who can be first and loudest to proclaim that it is never okay to forcibly resist law enforcement. In doing so, they are also inadvertently demonstrating why so much of human history has been plagued by tyranny and oppression. In an ideal world, the cops would do nothing except protect the people from thieves and attackers, in which case shooting a cop would never be justified. In the real world, however, far more injustice, violence, torture, theft, and outright murder has been committed in the name of law enforcement than has been committed in spite of it. To get a little perspective, try watching a documentary or two about some of the atrocities committed by the regimes of Stalin, Lenin, Chairman Mao, or Hitler, or Pol Pot, or any number of other tyrants in history. Pause the film when the jackboots are about to herd innocent people into cattle cars, gun them down as they stand on the edge of the ditch, and then ask yourself the question, when should you shoot a cop? Keep in mind the evils of these regimes were committed in the name of law enforcement, and as much as the statement may make people cringe, the history of the human race would have been a lot less gruesome if there had been more cop killers around to deal with the state mercenaries of these regimes. Let's see, protocol number 7, increasing weapons in police forces are essential to complete our plans. Besides ourselves, there will be others devoted to our interest. And yesterday, the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center, that's the ACTIC, A-C-T-I-C, a division of Arizona Department of Public Safety, released a bulletin announcing the chilling document that seems to endorse and justify the killing of law enforcement officers. Copies of the informational letter were apparently left on a table with other documents to educate protesters at Occupy Phoenix. A bulletin from the ACTC notifies officers of the document, but says it has no credible threats against law enforcement officials that have been uncovered. And, you know, folks, we're not advocating killing cops. We're advocating working with sheriffs, working with law enforcement, and doing the work Jack McGlynn has been doing for the last 20 years, educating police officers. I believe that the police officers should be marching with the protesters, walking with them side by side, and that way nobody's harmed. And that sends a real clear message to the people that are trying to do this to us. I write fiction, folks. I write fiction. And I appreciate you buying it. I also write fact, and that's a Mystery Babylon, and that's the greatest education. It's being used in college levels to teach you history. It's got the whole history of the Rothschilds, it's got the Homeland Security, and it's got my experiences with this Homeland Security communist apparatus. So, You buying that helps me keep going. God bless you all. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. Work with your family. Talk to your family. Communicate. 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 Happy Thanksgiving. Uh-oh. Okay. How did I lose that? Shit. Okay, hold on a second.
Welcome to TalkShoe. Enter your PIN followed by the pound key. If you are Your PIN was not recognized or is being used by another caller. VoIP users, note that touch tones can be variable. Your PIN was not recognized or is being used by another caller. VoIP users, note that touch tones can be unreliable across the internet. Please be persistent. You may dial at any time during this announcement. Enter your PIN followed by the pound key. Your PIN was not recognized or is being used by another caller. VoIP users, note that touch tones can be unreliable. Your PIN was not recognized or is being used by another caller. VoIP users, note that touch tones can be unreliable across the internet. Please be persistent. You may dial at any time during this announcement. Enter your PIN followed by the pound key. If you are not a TalkShoe member, press 1, then pound. To get access to all features, sign up for a free account at TalkShoe.com. Your PIN was not recognized or is being used.
Okay. Got a little more time here. Got a little more time. We're still recording. Let me see what we got here. Come on, you piece of... See what else. Oh yeah, I was talking about what I tried to show in Mystery Babylon, the pressure put on our family and friends. It's because 18, and it's the scorn, rejection, lack of support from our fellow Americans that are responsible for the fact that more Vietnam vets have committed suicide here in America than were killed by the Viet Cong. 18 veterans kill themselves every day. Families do this because they're fearful of rejection in their schools, churches, and synagogues, and bow to the pressure to conform. We should be all Americans together in this Occupy protest. And we've watched the mainstream media attempts to dilute and manipulate the message and make false claims that the demonstrators have no message. Yeah, they got a message. They're saying we want the Wall Street bankers who crippled and robbed our country, robbed all of us, and robbed future generations brought to justice. We want the bankers tried and held accountable for their crimes against us. We want clean and fair government, not government for sale to the highest bidder. Wall Street bankers have stolen all of our money. We can no longer afford to influence our elected officials because the Wall Street bankers have driven the price to own a politician through the roof. We want the banking system totally rebuilt. We want an end to constitutional reserve. We want an end to the Federal Reserve Bank. We want the U.S. Treasury to do its constitutionally mandated function. We want our jobs back. It is no longer acceptable for CEOs to ship our jobs off to China and to offshore production just to make their bonuses and inflate the value of their stock options. We want a justice system that is fair to all people. We want police that assist and protect the public, not the iron boot of fascism on our throat if we object to the violation of our Fourth Amendment rights when catching an airplane. We want the Patriot Act repealed and the U.S. Constitution restored to the supreme law of the land. We want the border secured and illegal aliens returned to their homelands. We want our schools, churches, and neighborhoods free of drugs and criminals that molest our children. We want honest and truthful investigation of the reasons of 9/11. We want the real perpetrators punished for these crimes against our country. We want the America we know and love returned to we the people. We're telling the government we are withdrawing our consent to be governed until we have a government that respects us. We want a government that honors the U.S. Constitution, not the fascist, misnamed Patriot Act. We want a nation that looks out for its own citizens first before it tries to police the whole world. And my hat's off to the brave men who have used who have the stones to use their Second Amendment rights to protect the First Amendment rights of the demonstrators of the Occupy Phoenix movement. When you see that trading is done, not by consent, not by compulsion, when you see that in order to produce, you need permission from men who produce nothing, when you see that money is flowing to those who deal not in goods but in favors, when you see that the men getting richer by graft than by work, and your laws don't protect you against them but protect them against you, then you see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming a self-sacrifice. You may know your society is doomed. Ayn Rand said that. Ayn Rand lived from 1905 to 1982. Do you think we want these laws to be observed? We want them broken. There's no way to rule honest, innocent men. The only power government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there are not enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. So, of course, on a practical level, openly resisting the gang called government is usually very hazardous to one's health. I was just watching the story of Randy Weaver. One family that wanted to be Christian and wanted to worship the way they wanted to, Christian identity, and they were targeted, and they tried to take them out. Now, there's a big difference between obeying for the sake of self-preservation, which is often necessary and rational, and feeling a moral obligation to go along with whatever the ruling class wants to do to you, which is pathetic and insane. Most of the incomprehensible atrocities have occurred throughout history were due in large part to the fact that most people answered never to the question of when should you shoot a cop. The correct answer is when evil is legal, become a criminal. When oppression is enacted as law, become a lawbreaker. When those violently victimizing the innocent have badges, become a cop killer. And also, folks, let me say one thing. It's about creating criminals. This is what my website's about. This is what we talk about. The classical argument in favor of marijuana legislation rests on personal liberty. Why, proponents ask, should the federal government tell free citizens what they may consume? It is also one reason why many conservatives fear it. They worry that legalization will mean more potheads, an increase of consumption of hard drugs, and a decrease in the quality of life for the sober and for society at large. Former Brazilian President Fernando Henrique Cardoso believes the opposite would occur. In an interview here last week, he said that his embrace of global marijuana decriminalization is aimed at reducing all drug use, bringing down violence, demonstrating what he sees as a serious and growing threat to democracy in Latin America. Out of the politics since 2003, he finished his second four-year term as Brazil's most successful president. He's now a high-profile international advocate for ending the war on drugs. And folks, this is what I wrote about. I wrote a novel about this 40 years ago. It'll be finished, edited, and for sale in 2012. And I've waited a long time to hear a presidential candidate say these words: if you want to help America, you need to back me, and then you're backing someone who is doing more to bring sanity back to our country before it is too late. Time is getting short. Order one of my books, make a donation, help start the best answer to your personal situation, and that would be Liberty Villages, folks. Get together with neighbors, put 10 of your neighbors together. Call me or send me an email, figure out what we can do together. I'm Clay at freeamerican.com. That's where you can send a donation. My phone number is 520-413-2397. God bless you.